Back to one of our top stories this hour. Eskom is warning there is a high probability of stage 1 load shedding today. Let's take a listen to the utilities spokesperson talking about the challenges with the schedule related to power cuts.
We are working together with municipalities to correct that situation. Ideally, all of us should be having systems which are automated so that when you call off load shedding at a particular time, then everyone at that time should have electricity. And when you implement load shedding at a particular time, it should happen almost simultaneously. But unfortunately, many municipalities are still depending on, I would say, manual systems. Someone has to get into a car, drive to some place somewhere, get stuck in traffic, and that's why sometimes there are delays in terms of either implementing load shedding or sometimes even putting the power back on, because people still have to drive across the roads, and that's why we're having problems. From our side, most of our systems are automated, but we still have discussions with municipalities so that they can also change their systems to automations.
All right, staying with this story now, let's explore some of the apps that have emerged to help you try to unpack and try to follow the load shedding schedule. Social media analyst Yavi Madure, is in studio with us. Yavi, I mean, just this morning, in fact, in the run-up to our interview, I was trying to download the Eskom app. I did that successfully. It then asks for you to put in your residential address or your work address, whichever you prefer. Mine is not found, so apparently Eskom doesn't know where I live. Is this the kind of feedback you're getting from the sort of the user-friendliness of this app?
Yeah, so it's the app, it's their website in terms of the load shedding schedule. So in terms of the issue that you're having about address or location, shall we call it rather, that is not talking to each other. Yeah. So the app, the fact that you downloaded it successfully, like one time, it didn't time out, so well done. The Eskom gods were smiling on you. But also, just in terms of what they're trying to be able, they should be able to utilize these online, and I like to call them online assets. So these are your online assets. They are there to be able to speak when you can't. Yeah. So just make sure it works. I mean, I tweeted a couple of days ago. I was highly annoyed. You go onto the app, you go onto the actual website where it's got the load shedding schedule. You put in your details. It tells me that there is no load shedding in my area. I know I'm having load shedding because there's no lights above me. And that is the issue that many people are finding they're having issues with. They can't find their location, so they don't know. They don't know whether they are supplied by Eskom. So even though you look at your municipality bill, city power, you know, that kind of thing, it's still very mixed up, if I can put it that way.
Can I say in Eskom's defense that it is a massive job to try to keep every street, every home in the country updated on whether you are having load shedding or not?
So let's put it this way. If you are going from a process perspective in terms of the admin, right, you are going in to understand which areas you are shutting down. You are communicating that. But attached to that, obviously somewhere on their system, every company has a system that has areas, locations attached to certain areas. Otherwise, how will they know what's happening? So when that happens, why are they not communicating that from their online division? Because then we don't have to phone you to ask you, you know, what time are the lights coming back on. You've got Twitter, so you put it out there that you're in stage 1 load shedding. That's wonderful, that's lovely that you tweet us and that we can follow that. There are people that don't have Twitter. There are people that don't have Facebook. So how are they understanding? So they've got this lovely app, why aren't they using it? So yes, it's a massive job, but they've got the tools to be able to achieve it and make it simpler so that people are not bombarding them. Use it. They've already got, their systems must be able to talk to each other. It's being able to take those systems and integrate all the different systems and processes and integrate it. They have it. It works sometimes, so why not other times? And that becomes the question.
So what's your advice to South Africans? How do I stay on top of when I'm going to be without electricity? I mean, we're laughing about sort of the inadequacies of the app itself, but it's a serious issue. We've had a number of people speaking to our reporters where their lives literally depend on having electricity and knowing when they will not have electricity.
And it even has come down to, apparently, according to, and there was a story this morning that got released, that Crime has gone up in the areas of blackout. So that's telling us something. So the advice to South Africans that are battling or being frustrated with the fact that they're not being communicated to. So the one issue is that we don't have access to electricity, and that's another discussion. But if you are going to do load shedding, if you're going to implement it, stage 1, stage 2, stage 3, stage 4, tell us, but tell us properly.
Yeah.
So make sure that you've got, every organization runs into a crisis. Everyone has a crisis management communications plan. And that becomes the thing, is that when that communications authority within Eskom needs to go out, surely they have online, they have print media, they have broadcast media, they notify all the different media, but as well as online. So it's being able to make sure that that high-level crisis communication plan goes out, and it goes out properly. So even if the app is not updated, make sure that you say that. So don't say we're going into stage 1 and we haven't, you don't say anything, so that we don't know that the app is not updated. So we go on there and, okay, but we're not load shedding right now, but there's load shedding above us, you know. So it's a matter of being able to look at it from a crisis management perspective.
Yeah, absolutely.
What would you do in a crisis?
Well, on the more positive note, we have had promises from the Public Enterprises Minister that there will be no load shedding this festive season, so fingers crossed for that. Yavi Madure, I'm going to get your name right one of these days. Yavi Madure is in studio with us. She's our social media analyst.